My name is Nelson Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela. I was born on a July morning in 1918 in a village called Mvezo. The air smelled of red soil and firewood. My father named me Rolihlahla. It means pulling the branch of a tree. Or if you ask the elders, troublemaker. I like to think it meant I was born to stir the winds of change. My childhood was filled with wide-open skies and the wisdom of my ancestors. But when I lost my father, the world grew silent. I was sent away. And from that day, I began a journey far beyond the hills of my home. At Fort Hare, I found the power of words, the idea that justice could be spoken into being. I stood with my fellow students and paid the price. I was expelled, but in losing one path, I found another. Johannesburg was not kind, but it opened my eyes. I met men who dreamed of freedom. Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, brothers in struggle. We knew we were not just fighting laws, we were fighting to be seen as human. We sang songs of peaceful protests, and they answered with bullets. After Sharpeville, I buried my tears and chose resistance. I went underground. I learned to fight impunity and racial segregation, not out of hatred, but out of love for my people. They called me the Black Pimpernel, but I was just a man who refused to kneel. When they captured me, I did not beg. At the Rivonia trial, I looked my oppressors in the eye and told them, "It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." I lived in a cell no wider than my outstretched arms. The sea crashed outside, but inside I grew silent and strong. I wrote letters. I tended a garden. I watched time carve my face like a stone. Hope is a whisper at first, then it becomes a song. I heard it across oceans. 1 billion hearts beat with mine. And one day, after 27 years, they opened the gates. Freedom is not the absence of chains. It is the presence of dignity. I walked free, but I carried the hopes of a nation with me. I was no longer just a man. I had become an international voice. We sat at tables with our former jailers. We chose forgiveness over vengeance. We wrote a new story, not in anger, but in courage. In 1994, the impossible became true. The Rainbow Nation became a living reality. I became the president of a new South Africa. But I was only ever a servant. Power is not in titles, it is in the hearts you lift. I spent my final years speaking of peace, of unity, of dreams born in hardship. The struggle never ends, it simply changes shape. I am Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. I was caged but never broken. I was hardened but never cruel. I was shaped by pain but led by hope. And I believe the long walk to freedom does not end at my feet. It continues with yours.